Toastmaster ceremonies. Thankfully, I reincarnated our old projector and it's working. And I hope it stays out for the rest of the presentation. Now this presentation is about how to build the A-team. It's from the Leadership Excellence series. However, in the Leadership Excellence series, the outline is completely different from what I'm going to deliver today. Because I believe that all the experience that I have gained from can be more practical for all of our members rather than the one that is already outlined. So let us start, but before we start, there's a small twist to my presentation. Now at the end of the presentation, instead of letting the audience ask questions, I'll be asking the audience some questions from the presentation itself. Now if they fail to answer, they will be paying me 5 BD.
Come on, man. Are we getting you a new food?
That's too much. Alright, let's bring it down. If they fail to answer, they give me 3 chocolates. Agreed?
Okay.
We don't have chocolate.
Later, it's okay.
How many questions are there? How many questions are there?
That's up to me, depending on the time. Now to make it fair, if I ask the audience the questions and there's still time, I'll give you the chance to ask me the questions. And then the game will be the same. I'll be giving you 3 chocolates if I fail to answer your question.
What if we answer your question?
Nothing.
That's not a deal.
So let us begin with the definition of a team. A team basically stands for together, everyone achieves more. Now since this presentation is about creating the A-team, what is it that the A-team is made of? The A-team is basically together, everyone achieves more with the blending of 4 essential aspects. The 4 essential aspects are selecting members. Once you have selected the members, you agree on parameters. After agreement, you establish and execute a plan. And finally comes the most interesting part, which is the changing role of the leader. Now let us begin with the member selection. Now before starting searching for your selected members, you should go ahead and set a goal. Now why should you go ahead and set a goal? Think of it, now since I play football a lot, this is an example from there. Think of it of a match without goalposts. Can you ever win a game which has no goalposts? It is not possible, because no team will ever score a goal. That's why the first step has to be for you to set a goal. Now once you have set this goal, note down all the positions that will be required to fulfill this goal. And after you have noted down the positions, note down the skills that will be necessary for them to fulfill this goal. What do you do after setting a goal? Once you have done that, you start selecting members. The first criteria is will over skill. Now what do I mean by will over skill? Now let us have an illustration. This person, they were supposed to have black hair over here and then white hair over there. But nonetheless, the projector is still working at least. So let us assume this is myself. And this is Toastmaster Khan. Now this person has the skills, but this person has the will. Now this person with the skills does not have the will. That is why this pile of stack remaining here is all the things that this person still has to finish, which means in one way or another I'm a lazy person. And then we have the active person, the person who does not have the skills but the will to finish the tasks. Toastmaster Khan, who has already finished more than half of my stacks and is working on the last final bits. That's the difference between will and skill. A will is the thing that differentiates a champion from a winner. You may have the skill required, but if you do not have the will to carry it forward, you will never become a champion. So that's the first criteria. Moving on. The next criteria is about reliability. Now when we talk about reliability, this is one of the examples I like the most. Why? Because the person hanging over in here somehow today is myself. How? Because instead of presenting in front of all of you today, I could have been watching Warcraft for free, and then I could have gone and watched Real Madrid versus Atletico Madrid Champions League finale for free in a private cinema hall, and eventually finishing it off with a dinner with my friends. All of this was possible simply because my friends know I do not pay for movie tickets because it's the wastage of money. But nonetheless, I rejected their offer. Why? Because if you take this person out, the rest of the team falls. And this is one of the commitments that I made when I became the president, to attend meetings regularly. That is the meaning of reliability. A person who sticks to his or her words, does not make last moment excuses. That is the person you want to look for and select in your team. Now you have got this person. What is the next thing we look up to? Flexibility. What do we mean by flexibility? Now this is Mr. Fantastic. He is so flexible that I had to cut off his leg out of the presentation slide because it was very, very lengthy. So I had to cut it off. Now I do not mean this flexibility when I say flexibility. The flexibility that I mean is a bit different. It's a person who will be willingly ready to sacrifice for the rest of the team. He wouldn't say, this is not my task, why should I do it? This is the person who would be willing to take it up simply because the team's entire effort is at risk. So once you have these three components, the next one is very essential, and that is why we all are here today, which is communication. Why communication is important? Because if you have a team member who would not discuss problems when they're arising, you can never solve problems. If you have a team member who is not ready to discuss ideas, then in this fast-growing and developing world, your team or your organization can never reach the heights that the rest of the organizations are going up to. That is why it's very important that the member you're selecting should have good communication skills. Now, you got will over skill, you got reliability, you got flexibility, and you got communication. Now what if you have two people who have all these skills, but they have a personal conflict? Something like this. Now for you, the best approach is to neglect both of them. Because as a leader, you do not want to waste your time and effort in managing useless activities as personal conflicts. So that is how you select your team members. Now you have got your team ready. You have the members with you. What's the next step?
Execute.
Before that.
Huh?
Before that,
Think.
and agree on parameters. Now what do I mean by agreeing on parameters? The first parameter that you have to agree on is communication. How do you communicate with your team? And what platforms are you going to use to communicate with your team? Once you have set this up, the next thing is decision making. How will the team make decisions? Who will be the person making the decision? The best strategy for this is to allow the leader be the person who is guiding the team's decision, and then the team's decision is taken on the overall agreement of the entire team. So the leader, himself or herself, never makes a decision. It's a team decision at every single step. We selected the members. We agreed on parameters. Now what's the next thing? You said it already. Establish and execute the plan. Now when you're establishing the plan, be smart. Now this is the third abbreviation I'm using. I can be an abbreviation master. Here, SMART stands for, you might be right. When you're planning, have a specific goal. In Toastmasters, your specific goal can be achieving present distinguished status with quality meetings. Now once you have set this specific goal, your next
Measurable.
Specific
Measurement.
Yeah.
Your next step is to make sure that the plan is measurable. What do we mean by measurable plan? If you want to achieve President Distinguished status, the measurement here is the points that you will achieve to be a President Distinguished Club, which is 9 out of 10 DCB points. Another measure here for high quality meetings can be starting and ending on time and making sure that the speeches and the educational sessions are actually beneficial for all the members. The next element is acceptable. Your plan should be something that is acceptable by the entire team. So once you have got all these elements together, the next thing is it should be reasonable. You should not set a plan like our team would aim to have 20 CCs in our term. 20 CCs, what are you going to do with them in the first place? And secondly, you will be overlooking quality for quantity. The last element, any guesses?
Time down.
Exactly, time limit. Now if you set the goal of becoming a President's Distinguished Club in 13 months, that's of no use. Because even if you fulfill your plan, you are above time. So now you have established the plan. The next thing is to execute the plan. Now how do you execute the plan? Start off by a single strategy, which is very important. It is to train and trust your team members. And in training, you make sure you are together in the training. Do not make it a speech or a training in which you're just telling them things. Because in every aspect of life, there's always a lesson that you can learn from. You may be training them, but at the same time, you will yourself get learnings from the rest of the team members. And once you have trained them, make sure you trust them. You trust them with every little detail. You delegate them a task, you let them do it. Because after all these steps that you have done, now there's no point of not trusting your team. Next step, encourage them. Once you have trusted them, trained them, there will be points where they will make mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes. We are all humans. We always make mistakes. So once they make mistakes, make sure you encourage them, because if you don't do this, your team members will not take risks. And if they do not take risks in this world, then your organization is coming down, baby. And after encouragement, you make sure that you have everyone be accountable for every part of the overall plan. Now, how do you do this? You set up something that's called a measurement. For example, a measurement in a Toastmasters Club can be the Vice President of Education achieving 4 CCs throughout the term. Now, if that member fails to achieve this accountability measurement that has been allotted, go and talk to that person individually. Try to encourage them as much as possible and let them overtake and make sure they execute this. However, if they fail, even after constant encouragement, keep one thing in mind, that the trees can only grow new leaves after they part ways with the old leaves. So now, the final part. The leader's ever-changing role. In this system of the A team, the leader starts off initially with developing the entire forming of the team and supervising each and every step of the team. Once the leader does this, through the midway of the project, the leader becomes a problem solver, a facilitator, a delegator, and a coach. Now here, the point of delegation is very, very important. For an A team, you cannot achieve success if you do not delegate tasks. And once you have delegated tasks, remember to trust your team members to fulfill those tasks. And finally, and this is what I'm doing currently, once you have done all of this hard work, you simply become a person who just recognizes achievements and at the same time monitors performance. You combine all of these, you get the A team. And that is the conclusion of this presentation. And if you get this A team together, you get a cohesive unit who will produce quality projects. even if they're given less resources and time. Finally, remember that the difference between an A team and a normal team is that the A team not just only works together, it works together by trusting, caring, and maintaining close relationships with each and every member in the team. So now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for me to question all of you. But this is the interesting part. Before that, I want you all to realize one major thing here. Now, if I had not asked you all that I'll be asking questions at the end of the presentation, none of you would have given me your entire attention. Now, if you want to be a person on the A team, make sure wherever you go, you give your utmost attention. That's the vital aspect of an A team member. If you fail to do that, you cannot become a part of the A team. Now, towards the questions. Unfortunately, the light is red, so I hand over the control back to Master Students.